I wasn't supposed to be home that early. My night shift at the freight yard got cut short after a hydraulic line blew on one of the cranes. So they sent us all home. I figured I'd catch a quick shower, maybe surprise Emily with breakfast before she woke up. I got as far as the hallway when I heard my name. Her voice echoed from the kitchen. She had me on speakerphone with her cousins. I froze. Not because she said anything bad, but because of the way she said it. Light, casual, like I was a joke they were all in on. One of the cousins said, "He'll probably cry. Or propose. That would be hilarious." Emily laughed a little, but not like it was that funny. More nervous. "I don't know, I feel kind of bad." "So what?" the other cousin said. "It's just a loyalty test. You fake a breakup, say you need space. If he fights for you, you win. If he doesn't, well, now you know." Emily didn't shut it down. That's what hit me. She just said, "Yeah, I guess it couldn't hurt." Couldn't hurt? We'd been together almost 5 years. We'd made it through layoffs, my busted knee, her mom's surgery, and now I was some experiment to see if I'd fight hard enough. I didn't move. I just stood there, heart pounding, while they kept talking like I wasn't a real person. Like I was some dog they were testing to see if I'd sit or bark. One of them said, "You need to see how deep he's in. If he really loves you, he'll beg." I backed up slow, careful not to make the floorboards creak. I stepped out the front door, circled the block once with my fists clenched. Not out of rage, out of restraint. Could have barged in. Could have demanded answers. But they didn't deserve that. Not yet. They wanted a show? Fine. They were about to get one they wouldn't forget. By the time I came back through the door, I was calm, blank. She was still in the kitchen, texting, acting like nothing had happened. I gave her a kiss on the cheek, told her I was home early, and headed to the shower. In my head, though, I was already writing the script. And this time, I was the one in control. She made eggs that morning. Overcooked, like always when she was overthinking. Kept asking how I slept, if I felt okay, if I needed anything from the store. I just smiled and said, "All good," and went on with my day like I didn't already know what was coming. That night, she curled up next to me on the couch like we hadn't just fast-tracked our relationship into the twilight zone. I put on The Office and cracked jokes like usual. She laughed too hard, touched my arm a little too often, like she was checking the temperature of the water before the plunge. I kept it all light, not cold, not distant, just smooth. I didn't ask about her cousins, didn't hint at anything. If she was waiting for signs of suspicion, she didn't get any. Let her sweat. By Thursday, she was cleaning things that didn't need cleaning, reorganizing kitchen drawers, wiping baseboards, lining up shoes by the front door. Not because she wanted things neat, but because she needed a distraction. Friday night, I made spaghetti and poured her a glass of wine without asking. I could see her eyes flicking around, trying to decide if this was the right time. She was waiting for a signal, a slip-up, maybe for me to confess some hidden guilt she could use to justify her little test. But I didn't give her anything. I told her I'd be in the garage in the morning changing the oil in my truck. She said, "Okay," like it was just another Saturday coming up. But I knew what Saturday was. That was her showtime. Saturday came. I was under the truck with grease up to my elbows when I heard the garage door creak open behind me. "Hey," she said. I rolled out on the creeper, wiped my hands, and looked up. She was standing with her arms crossed, fidgeting with the hem of her hoodie. Classic Emily when she's about to lie. "I've been thinking," she started, "about where we're going, and I feel like I need some space, just to sort things out." She looked at me like she was bracing for a slap, like she wanted panic or yelling, or at least some dramatic speech about how I couldn't live without her. I sat up slow. "All right," I said. "When were you thinking?" She blinked. "What?" "You said you needed space. I'm just asking when you want it to start. Today? Tomorrow?" She stepped back like I'd hit her with a question she wasn't prepared for. I guess now." "Cool," I said, standing up and brushing off my hands. "You want help packing up anything? Or are you staying here and I take the spare room?" The pause that followed said everything. I figured I'd stay," she said. Just for a little while. I nodded. Works for me. She looked thrown. Like the script in her head had just caught fire and she didn't know what scene we were in anymore. While you're listening, tell us which country you're watching from. I walked past her and into the house. Didn't stomp. Didn't huff. Just grabbed a fresh towel, took a shower, and moved my stuff into the spare room like I was booking a cheap hotel for a couple nights. She followed me up the stairs. You're being really chill about this. I didn't look at her. You asked for space. I'm giving it. That's all you have to say? I glanced at her. What else is there? She opened her mouth, closed it, then just stood there, waiting. But I wasn't giving her anything. By the time I set my phone charger and pillow down in the guest room, she was still hovering in the hallway, like she wanted to take it back, but couldn't figure out how without wrecking her whole plan. I got into bed, turned on the fan, and scrolled through my messages like it was just another weekend. She lingered for another minute. I didn't look up, didn't flinch. Eventually, I heard her footsteps fade down the hall. Let her wonder. Let her marinate in it. She wanted space? She'd damn well get it. She stayed in the hallway for a minute like she expected me to chase her. But when nothing happened, she finally walked away. I stayed in the spare room, pulled the blinds shut, tossed on an old hoodie, and flipped through the weather app like I had nothing better to do. I could hear her pacing the bedroom across the hall. 15 minutes later, she tapped on the door. I opened it halfway. What's up? She hesitated. So, I guess we should talk about how this is gonna work. Yeah, good idea, I said. You want a full break or more like a pause and reset type thing? I mean, maybe we ease into it? She offered, real soft. I nodded like I was taking notes. All right, well, I moved into the spare room, so that gives us some space inside the house. Groceries, bills, I'll keep covering my half. If you need help figuring stuff out, just ask. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Her eyes kept jumping from my face to the room behind me, like she still hadn't decided what part she was playing. You're okay with all this? She asked. You brought it up, I said, calm. Just trying to make it smooth for both of us. She stared like I just answered a marriage proposal with a weather report. I stepped back into the room and shut the door before she could come up with a response. I spent the rest of the afternoon organizing tools in the garage, wiping down the truck, just staying busy. She floated through the house like a ghost, folding things that didn't need folding, adjusting throw pillows she just fixed the day before. She kept coming into whatever room I was in. Not saying much, just standing around, trying to create these little openings in the air. But I didn't walk through a single one. By dinner, I made myself a sandwich, offered her one, and when she said she wasn't hungry, I just nodded and kept eating. That was the tone all night. Me being chill, her being unsure if she was winning or losing. The tension was thick, but I didn't lean into it. I let it hang there like a fog she had to walk through alone. She tried again around 9. I was thinking maybe we should ease up on the silence thing, she said from the hallway. I looked up from my phone. You mean talk more during the break? Yeah, I mean, we don't have to be strangers. Sure, I said. You can talk whenever you want. I'm not the one who needed space. That hit her square in the chest. I saw it. She looked like she wanted to defend herself, but the words didn't line up. Okay, she mumbled, backing away. That night, I heard her tossing and turning through the wall. The bed creaked every couple minutes, and once I even heard her sigh loud, like she wanted me to hear how much this sucked for her. I slept like a rock. The more she twisted, the more I settled in. Before we go on, share which city or country you're watching from. In the morning, I got up early, made coffee, and walked out like it was just another Sunday. She was already sitting on the couch, staring at the blank TV screen. No makeup, hair tied up messy, still in pajamas. You going anywhere today? I asked casual. She shook her head. No plans. Cool. I'm gonna grab groceries and swing by the car wash. She opened her mouth like she was about to say something deep or dramatic, but then just said, okay. I grabbed my keys and walked out the door. That was the first full 24 hours of her little test. She expected me to crack. Instead, I was just getting warmed up. I came back from the store, dropped the bags on the counter, and she was still sitting in the exact same spot on the couch. Barefoot, arms folded, looking like she hadn't moved all day. I didn't ask if she was okay. I just put the groceries away and headed out again. By Sunday night, I was cleaned up, cologne on, wearing the shirt she always said made my arms look good. I walked right past her on my way out. "You going somewhere?" she asked, tone tight. "Yeah. Grabbing a few drinks with my cousins," I said. "Should be fun." She blinked like she hadn't expected that answer. "You didn't say anything earlier." I shrugged. "Didn't think I had to clear it with you." She didn't reply, just sat there while I tossed on a jacket and grabbed my wallet. "Don't wait up," I said, and shut the door behind me. We hit this little dive bar on Route 11. Nothing special, pool tables, greasy fries, cold beer. But I laughed loud, tipped well, played darts, made sure a couple photos hit Instagram. Smiled like I didn't have a care in the world. When I came home around 1, she was still up, lights off, TV glowing, pretending to watch some crime show. I didn't say a word, just walked past her, headed to the spare room, and shut the door. Monday morning, she looked like she hadn't slept. Bags under her eyes, same pajama pants from yesterday. "You have fun last night?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "Yeah, it was good catching up with the guys." She stood there holding her coffee like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. "Who all was there?" "Just the usual. Jake, Chris, Dom. Bunch of cousins, nothing wild." She gave a slow nod, like she wanted to ask if anyone else was there, but didn't want to look insecure. "Cool," she mumbled. "Glad you had fun." Then silence. I finished my eggs, rinsed the pan, and left for work like it was just another Monday. By dinner, the energy had shifted. She made stir-fry, my favorite, and set the table for 2 like we hadn't been living like roommates for 2 days. "I've been thinking," she said once I sat down. "Maybe we don't need to do the full space thing." I chewed, nodded. "Yeah, maybe we just need clarity." "I agree." She blinked again, thrown. "I mean, like, maybe we adjust how we're approaching things, not push each other away." "Makes sense," I said. "Distance doesn't have to be physical, right? Sometimes it's just mental space. Clears the fog." Her face tightened. "Right?" I stayed calm, supportive, agreeable, but never chasing. Not once. I let her try to steer, and every time she reached for the wheel, I just leaned back. That whole week, I shifted gears. Not fake, just different. I started acting like a man who finally had time for himself again. I hit the gym after work, took longer showers, left my phone out in the open with nothing to hide. Even tossed on music when I was cooking, stuff she didn't like. Country, classic rock. Let her sit with that unfamiliar rhythm. She kept poking the air between us, trying to pull it back to how things were. I never pushed, never pulled, just let her keep dangling. One night, I got home late and she was already sitting at the table. "You've been different," she said. I poured a drink. "You asked for different." "That's not what I meant." "Then you should have said what you meant." She frowned. "I didn't think you'd just detach like this." I looked her dead in the eyes. "You didn't think, period." She didn't answer. Midweek, I got invited to a friend's poker night. I told her I'd be out late. Didn't ask if she cared. Didn't check in once. She texted me around 10. Just, "Hey." I left it on read. She was still awake when I got home. Sitting up in bed this time, like maybe I'd crawl in beside her and make everything right. I didn't. I showered, changed, and went to the spare room without a word. "Before we move on, drop a comment with where you're tuning in from." The next morning, she didn't say good morning. Didn't make breakfast. Just sat at the counter staring into her coffee like it owed her something. I walked out the door whistling. She wanted a test? Well, she was the one failing it now. Thursday morning started normal, or what passed for normal that week. I was sipping gas station coffee in the work truck, halfway through a stack of delivery slips, when my phone buzzed. It was her. She never called me at work. I let it ring twice before answering. "Everything all right?" She paused. "Yeah, I thought maybe we could talk tonight. Like, really talk." I didn't rush to respond. Just let the silence settle a second. You sure that's a good idea? Don't want to mix signals. I'm not trying to confuse anything, she said, voice soft. I just want to talk. All right, dinner at 7. Your call if it's here or out. I'll cook, she said quickly. Just come home hungry. She sounded like someone standing on a cliff talking herself into jumping. That night, I walked through the front door and the smell hit first. Garlic, something roasting in the oven, candles lit like it was date night. She was wearing makeup, something soft and familiar, hair done, apron on. Hey, she said, like she didn't know if she had the right to be cheerful. Smells good, I said, setting down my keys. What's the occasion? No occasion. Just felt like making something nice. She served up plates like a hostess trying to impress a stranger. Meatballs, salad, fresh bread. I sat down, took a bite, gave a nod of approval. She barely touched her food. I've been thinking a lot, she started. Yeah, about everything. About us. I think maybe I misread some things. Like what? Like how we were doing. I thought maybe we needed space, but now I'm not sure that was the right call. I wiped my mouth and set down the napkin. You said you needed space to figure stuff out. If you figured something out, I'm listening. She looked nervous. I guess I expected you to react differently. I kept my voice level. Like what? Get upset? Chase you? She stared at her plate. Not chase. I don't know. Just care more. I do care, I said. That's why I gave you what you asked for. Respect goes both ways. She let out a weak laugh. Yeah, I guess I underestimated you. That sounds more like, I thought you'd fall apart without me. She flinched. That's not what I meant. No? Because this whole thing feels like it wasn't really about clarity. More like a setup. She shook her head too quickly. It wasn't. I just wanted to know where we stood. You wanted to test me. Let's just call it what it is. I didn't plan it like that. I leaned back. Then what did you plan? She blinked hard, like tears were close. I just thought if I backed off, maybe you'd step up, like make a move. Show me something. Like propose. I asked flatly. She didn't answer. That's not how real decisions work, Emily. You don't light a match and hope the smoke spells out what you want. She got quiet. Too quiet. I was scared, she said finally. Scared we were drifting. Scared you didn't see the future the way I did. So instead of talking to me, you created drama and hoped I'd perform under pressure. Before we continue, let us know where you're listening from in the comments. She wiped at her eye. I know I handled it wrong. I nodded. Yeah, you did. The silence between us stretched so long it felt like a third person at the table. The next day, she was quieter than usual. No music while she cleaned. No half-hearted small talk. Just slow movements and a haunted look in her eyes. That night, she stood in the doorway of the spare room while I was folding laundry. What if I made a mistake? She asked. I didn't look up. That's something you have to answer for yourself. I mean it. I believe you do. But I'm not walking in circles with you. You said space. I gave it. I'm not going to keep bouncing back and forth because you're scared of your own choices. Her voice broke a little. So what? That's it? I turned to face her, steady. I'm not saying anything's over. I'm saying the next thing you say better be something you're sure of. No more flip-flopping. She didn't say another word. Just stood there like her legs weren't working anymore. And I picked up the rest of the shirts, one by one, and kept folding. Friday morning, I walked into the kitchen and stopped cold when I heard her voice drifting in from the living room. She was on the phone again. Speaker low, but not low enough. I stayed just out of view. Her cousin's voice came through, sharp and smug. I'm telling you, Em, just tell him you're thinking about ending it for good. That'll shake him up. He'll crack if he thinks he's losing you for real. Emily didn't respond right away, but she didn't shut it down either. She just said, okay, I'll try. I smiled to myself and walked back out to the garage like I'd forgotten something. Desperate. That's where they were now. She'd pushed this whole mess and backed herself into a corner. and now they were scrambling for a trapdoor. I gave her the whole day. No reaction. No hint I'd heard anything. That evening, I came home, tossed my work boots by the door, and there she was, already waiting, arms crossed, like she'd been practicing. "Can we talk?" she asked. I nodded. "Sure." She stayed standing while I walked into the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of water, and leaned against the counter. "I've been doing some thinking," she started. "And maybe this separation should be permanent." I didn't blink. I just nodded. "You might be right." Her face dropped so fast I thought she'd trip over it. She blinked. "What?" "I mean, maybe we've been forcing something that just doesn't fit anymore." "That's not what I meant," she said fast. "Didn't you just say the separation should be permanent?" Yeah, but not like that. I thought we'd talk through it." "I'm talking. I just don't think we're built for forever if this is how we solve problems." Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. "You said you wanted clarity. This might be it." She took a step toward me. "So that's it? You're just done." I didn't move. "You're the one who brought it up." "I just agree." Her hands were shaking now. "That's not how this was supposed to go." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh? What was supposed to happen?" She swallowed hard. "Not this." "Then maybe you should have thought twice before turning us into a social experiment. Before we continue, drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from." She stood frozen, trying to think of something to say that would flip it back in her favor. I wasn't giving her the chance. I walked past her, calm and quiet, and headed to the spare room. As I grabbed my phone and sat on the edge of the bed, I heard her footsteps behind me. Slow, uncertain. But she didn't say a word, and I didn't look back. Her bluff was on the table. I just called it. She barely said a word the rest of Friday night. Just paced from room to room. Didn't eat. Didn't sleep. I could hear her pacing upstairs while I stayed in the spare room watching late-night highlights on my phone. Saturday morning, the second my coffee finished brewing, she came storming into the kitchen like a dam had finally burst. "Why aren't you fighting for me?" I turned around slow, mug in hand. "Excuse me? Why aren't you even trying?" she snapped. "You're just letting this fall apart." I sipped the coffee. "You made a choice. I'm respecting it." Her eyes were wild. "That's it? No questions? No pushback? Just, okay. Guess we're done?" I leaned against the counter. "What exactly do you want me to do?" "Beg." "I want you to act like you care," she shouted. I stayed calm. "You wanted space. I gave it. You said maybe we should make it permanent. I agreed. Now you're yelling because I took your words seriously." She clenched her fists, breathing hard. "This wasn't how it was supposed to go." I set the mug down, voice low. "Then maybe you should explain how it was supposed to go." Her mouth opened, but no words came. Just that panicked silence like someone caught sneaking out a back door. "Go ahead," I said. "What exactly did you think was going to happen here?" She tried to wave it off. "It doesn't matter anymore." "No, it does," I pushed. "Say it." She looked away. "You don't understand." "Then help me," I said. "Make me understand why you lit a fire under everything we built just to see what I'd do." She stared at the floor for a long second. Then finally, she cracked. "It wasn't my idea," she whispered. "It was my cousin's." I kept my arms folded, jaw tight. "What part wasn't your idea?" She looked up, eyes glassy. "The test. The fake breakup. The space. It was all part of this dumb loyalty thing they came up with. They said if I pushed you away, I'd see how much you actually loved me. By trying to break me, they said it would prove something if you fought to keep us. I don't know. I didn't think it would go this far." I stared at her for a beat. "You didn't think at all." "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said, stepping toward me. I didn't move. "I heard the call last Thursday. I heard every word." Her face fell like someone had punched her in the stomach. "You what?" "I was home early. I heard your cousin say you should fake needing space to see if I'd propose. You laughed. You didn't stop it." "I didn't know what to say," she whispered. "You say no. You shut it down. But you didn't. You went along with it." She tried to reach for my arm. I stepped back. "I'm sorry," she said. "I really am. I wasn't trying to manipulate you. I felt stuck. I was scared." "You were insecure," I shot back. "So instead of being honest, you let your cousins turn our relationship into a damn science experiment." "I get it," she said quickly. "I get that I messed up." "No, Emily. You broke something. You can't undo that with, 'I'm sorry.' Before we go on, leave a comment. What would you have done in my shoes?" She covered her mouth like she wanted to disappear. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't cruel. I was just done pretending this hadn't wrecked something real. "You wanted to test if I'd fight for you?" I said. "Here's the truth. I've been fighting for us every day for years. Through work stress, money problems, your family's drama. You just couldn't see it." She looked shattered. "What happens now?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "Now you sit with it. You think about the fact that your plan backfired. And then maybe we figure out where to go from there." She didn't argue, didn't cry. She just nodded and sat down at the table, completely quiet. And I walked out of the room, still calm, but finally done pretending I owed her more than the truth. She was still sitting at the kitchen table, quiet and hollow, when her phone buzzed. I glanced over. Barbecue at her cousin Dana's place. 7 o'clock. Food, drinks, bring your own lawn chair. She looked up at me. "We don't have to go." "Why not?" She hesitated. "It's just, maybe too soon." I leaned on the counter. "Too soon for who?" "Them?" Her mouth tightened. "We're going," I said. "I've got nothing to hide. Can they say the same?" She didn't answer, just got up and went to get ready. By the time we pulled into Dana's driveway, the backyard was already full. Music playing low, kids running around, guys with beers by the grill, folding chairs all over the grass. Emily walked a step behind me the whole way in. Dana spotted us first. "Hey, look who showed up." I gave her a nod. "Thanks for the invite." Cassie was by the drink table, already holding a plastic cup. "Glad you two could make it," she said, tone sugary sweet. I smiled. "Yeah." Emily almost bailed, said it might be awkward. I told her there's nothing awkward about honesty. Cassie tilted her head. "What's that supposed to mean?" "I'll keep it simple," I said, voice steady. "I know everything. The fake breakup, the phone call, the loyalty test. I was home last Thursday when you three plotted it." Dana's smile vanished. "What are you talking about?" Cassie said, fake laughing. "I heard the whole thing. Speakerphone in the kitchen. You told her to fake needing space so she could see if I'd prove my love." A couple people nearby started turning toward us. One guy behind Dana chuckled. "Wait, y'all actually pulled that on him? For real?" I nodded. "Yup. 5 years together, and apparently I wasn't worth a direct conversation. I was supposed to beg, maybe even drop a proposal out of panic." Emily stared at the ground like she wanted to melt into it. Cassie scoffed. "It was just a suggestion. Not like we made her do it. You encouraged it, pushed it, cheered it on. And she listened." Dana chimed in, defensive. She needed clarity. We were trying to help her figure things out. "No," I said. "You didn't help. You manipulated. You convinced her to test someone who was already loyal. And for what? Entertainment? A power trip?" People started drifting closer. I saw a few husbands nudge each other. Drinks paused halfway to mouths. "She could have just talked to me." I went on. "But you planted the idea that drama was better than honesty. That emotion was more valuable than respect." Cassie crossed her arms. "Don't blame us for how you handled it." "Oh, I'm not blaming. I'm pointing out facts. Your advice led to lies, confusion, and damage I now have to clean up. You nearly wrecked her future because you wanted a reaction. Before we continue, comment below. How would you have handled this mess?" Dana's husband shook his head. "That's messed up. You really played your own cousin like that." A couple people actually stepped back from the drink table. One lady muttered something under her breath and walked away with her plate. Cassie looked around, realizing fast that this wasn't going the way she planned. Emily still hadn't said a word. I turned to her. You didn't just test me. You let them turn our life into gossip. And now, here we are. Dana spoke again, trying to salvage it. Okay. Maybe it got a little out of hand. I cut her off. No. It blew up in your faces because you didn't think there'd be consequences. Emily finally looked up at her cousins. She didn't defend them, didn't speak, didn't move. She just stood there while the crowd pulled away from them one person at a time. Quiet, awkward, done with the show. I didn't gloat. I didn't yell. I just took a long breath and looked each one of them in the eye. Then I turned to Emily and said, "Let's go." We didn't speak until we were halfway down the highway, headlights cutting through the dark. She stared out the window like she was waiting for the world to unspin itself. Then, real quiet, she said, "Is there any way to fix this?" I kept my eyes on the road. That depends. On what? On whether you're serious or just trying to save face. I'm serious, she said. I don't want to lose this. I nodded once. Then here's what it takes. Full honesty, no more games, no tests, no secrets. Real counseling, not just a podcast or YouTube clips. And you cut them off. For good. She turned toward me. You mean like block them? I mean they're not part of this anymore. No updates, no advice, no fake apologies. They don't get to poison this again. She swallowed. Okay, I can do that. You say you can, I said. But I don't want promises. I want action. I'll show you, she whispered. I'll do it. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't hear her, but because I needed to see what she'd do when the car stopped and the talking was over. We got home, and she didn't say another word. Just went upstairs, closed the door behind her. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of her pacing in the hallway. I walked out and saw her with her phone in one hand, staring at her contact list like it was loaded with landmines. She looked at me. I'm gonna do it now, just so you know. All right, I said. I stood there while she called Dana, voice shaking, but steady enough to say what needed to be said. I'm not doing this anymore, she said. We're done. Don't call me again. She ended the call before Dana even finished her sentence. Then she called Cassie and did the same. Blocked them both. Then she booked the counseling appointment, real place, real therapist, not some cheap solution she could back out of. Later that week, Cassie tried to text her from a different number. Some long guilt trip about how he twisted the story, and we were just trying to help. Emily showed me the text without saying a word. Then hit block. She didn't ask for credit. She didn't wait for praise. She just handled it. Before we continue, drop a comment. Do you think you would have given her another chance? That Friday, she sat next to me on the couch after dinner. Legs pulled up, eyes tired but clear. I want to prove I can be better, she said. I nodded. Good. I know it'll take time. It should. She took a breath. Do you believe I can change? I stared at her for a second, then said, I believe people show who they are when no one's clapping, so I'm watching. That's all. It wasn't about revenge anymore. I wasn't trying to hurt her or get even. That ship had sailed. Now it was about truth. Could she really undo the rot? Could she stop letting other people drive her decisions? Could she rebuild what she helped tear down? I didn't know. But for the first time since this whole mess started, I saw a woman who wasn't just sorry she got caught. She was sorry she let it happen at all. And that was a start. I leaned back on the couch and picked up the remote. She didn't try to cuddle, didn't try to make it sweet. She just sat there, quiet, staying in it. Good. Because if this was going to be real, then every step forward had to be earned. 6 months later, the ring was still on her finger, but we weren't rushing anything. The wedding planning was paused. Counseling was weekly. Most nights were quiet, sometimes tense, but real. She stuck to everything we agreed on. No cousins. No drama. No slipping back into old habits. And me? I stopped watching for her to fail. Started watching for signs she was actually changing, even when no one was looking. There were days I wanted to quit. Moments I thought, screw it, this isn't worth it. Walking away would have been cleaner. But she didn't run from the mess she made. She stayed in it. Owned it. That counted for something. One night we were on the porch, just sitting, no TV, no distractions, just the sound of bugs and the breeze. She was staring out at nothing, legs tucked under her, hoodie pulled tight. She said, "I don't need to test you anymore." I looked at her. "No." She shook her head. "I didn't get it before. I thought love was supposed to be proven through pain. Like, if someone really cared, they'd fight you to keep you. That's not love. That's control." "I know," she said. "I was scared you didn't feel as much as I did. So I let other people talk me into something I should have never entertained." "You did more than entertain it," I said. She nodded. "I know. And I live with that every day." She didn't cry, didn't grovel, just said it plain, like a truth she finally stopped avoiding. That was the moment I believed her. Not because she said the right thing, but because she finally understood why it was wrong. She didn't need to beg. She didn't need to break down. She needed to own it, and she did. Before we wrap this up, drop a comment. Is it harder to walk away or stay and rebuild? See, people talk about fighting for love like it's always supposed to look dramatic, yelling, chasing, grand gestures. But sometimes the real fight is the one that happens after the storm, when the noise dies down and the work begins. She failed the first test, no question. She folded to pressure, let fear drive her, let the wrong voices in. But the second test, the one that actually matters, maybe she's passing that one. And I'm still here watching closely. But this time not with suspicion, with hope.